Hey everyone, welcome back to the Football Plug as we're taking a look at NFL Week 15 review. And we're going to start off with a team actually that I don't think I've spoke enough about, to be honest. And that's because they are one of the top teams in the league this year. And that is the Bills. And the Bills and the Broncos was the matchup. It was a Saturday night game. And after this 48-19 win over the Broncos, the Bills sealed their first division title, and let's just say a really long time. The 90s, I believe. But this team with Josh Allen, he's playing like a Pro Bowler. I feel he gives the Chiefs the biggest problems in the playoffs, at least on the AFC side. Because if they're on their game, they can score multiple times and keep up with the Chiefs. And then they also have some solid defensive players like Tre'Davious White. Big fan of their safeties, including Micah Hyde, and that can impact. And they can have an impact on the game on their end. As for this game against the Broncos, there's really not that much to talk about. It was a blowout into the second half. Drew Lock only threw for 132. It's just not good enough. Now, next up is the Jets and the Rams, and I know Jets fans, most of them are, just besides themselves that they think they lost the opportunity to draft, a once-in-a-generation kind of talent in Trevor Lawrence. But, who knows, it's disappointing, but, they could get someone really good in this draft, and, and they could just forget all about it. And, in this game, the Jets could jumped out to an early lead, and then the Rams, really struggled on offense trying to get it going. Cam Akers got banged up with an ankle injury. He came back in the second half, ankles heavily taped up, but he was still able to get it done. They were, just began to grind away at the Jets in the second half, but ultimately, this time, in typical Jets fashion, they score on their opening drive. They don't really do much else, but they got some other points, on a couple other drives, and then they were able to hold on, shockingly, after seeing how they lost that game to the Raiders. So, embarrassing for the Rams, and, depending on what side of the Jets fan base you're on, maybe embarrassing for the Jets too. Now, the AFC South, both the Titans and the Colts got wins, big wins, to stay on track as they're neck and neck for the division crown. They both have good shots to compete in these playoffs, I feel. Right behind, I would say right now, the Bills. Obviously Chiefs, Bills, and then I would have these two teams. However, I think each of them has a flaw compared to the Bills. I don't think the Titans' defense can, hold up, as we saw last year. And so far this year, I don't think they're just good enough. They don't get enough pressure on the quarterback. Malcolm Butler's been playing better in the second half, but and then the Colts, I don't think their offense could do enough. I mean, I like Phillip Rivers, and it was great to see. I'm happy for him. I want him to get to the playoffs. I'd love to see him get to the Super Bowl just because of the whole Eli and Big Ben, draft class debate. I think he is, underrated compared to those two because they, just get the credit with the Super Bowl. And, similarly in the game, between the Lions and the Titans, Matt Stafford, I would love to see him get another chance because outside Detroit, sorry Detroit fans, but, they just haven't done enough and protected him enough. As you can see, he just plays through anything, basically. His legs and arms could be falling off and he'd still be out there, and you just love to see that as a fan. Now, the Cardinals and the Eagles. Wow. Jalen Hurts showing up 2 weeks in a row now. This one definitely more impressive than the first because there was obviously a film on him from last week, as well as his ability, throwing the ball was much improved. It wasn't just as much rushing like it was the week before. And it's crazy to think about it now, looking back on this season for the Eagles and thinking that if they had started Jalen Hurts, going into this season, which is ridiculous, going into the season to think that he was going to start over Carson Wentz, that they would have a better chance probably to get into the playoffs and win the division. And the division only has probably 7 wins. That's just crazy, Well, that's all, guys. Thanks. Like, favorite, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time.